I've had a couple people reach out recently wondering how the tub is doing. Well, let me show you. It's early Friday morning. Yeah, not terribly early. It's probably about 8:30. It's doing. So this is a little bit of an update on my tub. If you like what you see, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free. So before the sun starts hitting it, maybe I can show you. There's one of the older fry right there. Where's my finger? Right there. And then one of the adults. And if I can get around here, lots of little fry in the water. Loads and loads and loads. And this is that floating box. I got the idea from Scotty, and there's loads of fry in there. And I'm going to say I don't think they need to be. So there's some cleanup I need to do now. I got a leaf litter from the tree over my head. Here it is, right there. And all that, I'll clean all that leaf litter out. So I put a bunch of Salvinia minima in here, and I don't know if that's dead or just the color. I think it's dead. I'm not sure. Something I didn't realize, Salvinia minima is a fern. It's an aquatic fern. And a bunch of water lettuce. It's spreading. It's getting leaf burned from the sun probably, on the older leaves anyway. The newer foliage in the center is looking pretty good. Look at that. Looks pretty nice. So I'm going to come through. I'll pull all the leaf litter out. I'm going to pull this out. Pull that box out, get the fishies out of there, and do a water change also. And it occurred to me why it's so dark is because I dropped a big chunk of manzanita down at the bottom. So it's just leaching tannins like crazy. I guess I could reach in and get it out. But I've got those two big plecosauruses in here. And it's hard to see, but the sides are now black. They used to be just that thick, fuzzy green algae. And they cleaned it up. So I don't know what they're feeding on. Maybe that manzanita and just any other little bits of algae. I put 6 yellow goldenback shrimp in here when I set this thing up. And, I don't know. I saw one. And then weeks later, I saw one, and a couple days ago, I saw 2, and it looked like one of them might be female. And when I was seeing that other one coming up the side under the water drain there, the water overflow, it looked like a male, kind of really long and slender. But the other day, when I saw 2 of them, it was down on this wall, somewhere in there, and one of them looked like a female, looked kind of more plump, and I got kind of an angled view of it, close to the surface of the water, and it looked like it might have been buried, so we shall see. So maybe this is going to work out. So these Medaka Ricefish are certainly doing their thing. There are loads of fry in here. So I got the leaf litter out. Now there's still a piece under the drain, but I got almost all the leaf litter out, and I took out that floating tray, and I kind of lifted one side of it and lifted it out and slowly pulled it out because it was full of, I don't know if you guys can see these little tiny fry. There must have been, I don't know, 20 or so in that tray. So it works. I mean, it works, but it just didn't seem like it was really necessary in here because the adults didn't seem to be eating the fry. I also pulled out a bunch of the Salvinia minima, and I noticed, what I'm thinking is maybe the brighter light from, it was in the garage in the aquarium, maybe the brighter light is what's causing it to be darker colored. But some of it was obviously dead, and some of it was really impacted with that nasty green hair algae, that really stiff fibrous stuff. I think that came out of the tray that I was growing this stuff in. So now I've got my handy dandy fill rig in there, and water's not coming out real fast. And I'm going to let this run for a couple hours. It'll come up to the overflow there, sort of hopefully flush out a little bit. If I run this too fast, it'll go up and over the rims. I don't want the flow in this fill rig coming out faster than what that overflow here, what the overflow here can handle. I want to kind of balance it because I don't want fish floating up and over. That wouldn't do anybody any good, particularly the fish. That's kind of where this is right now. So we'll let this run for a while. So then, if you recall, I've got this little solar-powered fountain here. It's about $15 on Amazon, something like that. And it's got, I don't remember, 4 or 5 different spout attachments. And I chose this one, and I've been running with this one ever since. It works when the sun starts hitting it. That's about it. It does help move the water around a little bit. I like it for that respect. And maybe, I know I've seen a couple different solar-powered pumps, filters. I don't know if a filter would be cool in here or not. It might. Some sort of filtration system. Maybe one of those Bopa soap with the waterfall feature or something. I know there's others too that are solar powered. I'd probably have to run the little solar panel up to the roof so it stays in the sun, because around here in this little courtyard area, the sun comes and goes through the day. It gets in here kind of late and it leaves kind of early because of the configuration of the building. Would I buy one of those again? Yeah, maybe for 15 bucks. What the heck? It's doing something. One thing you got to keep in mind, periodically you'll see one of the little spouts kind of clog. And occasionally, this is the pump here, and it'll draw in a little bit of algae through there occasionally. So that might get clogged altogether. And it has when I had all that really thick algae in here. And the smaller bits will work their way through the pump and come out and plug one of these little holes. And so it's just a matter of pulling it out. It's not a big deal. And this whole little top from about where my fingernail is, there's a little line there. That whole little piece pops out. I think it does. Maybe the whole thing from down below. Yeah, I don't even know, because I put this together once and it's been that way ever since. You just clean it out. Not a big deal. And another thing that may or may not add to the nitrate level at some point, or the ammonia at first, bird poo. So since we're under a tree and my wife's got a bird feeder right there, you can see the bird poo lands on the edge, so I'm sure some of it's landing in the water as well. So I've started sticking the garden hose in here more frequently now and doing the water changes. It was really cloudy. Somebody suggested phosphates. So it looked like there were some phosphates. One of the solutions to phosphate mitigation is more water changes, it sounds like. So I'm doing, this is considered a water change, right? Where I'm adding fresh water at this end and water's going out at that end. I don't know how much I'm actually stirring up down at the bottom, but there's some circulation going on, and I'll let this run for maybe a couple hours. And then I use 1,000 milligram vitamin C tablets, just the ascorbic acid, and I grind those up in my mortar and pestle, put it in a cup, add water, and kind of make a solution out of it as best as possible, and pour that in. And that seems to do the trick for both chlorine and chloramines. All right, well, this is 1,000 milligrams of ascorbic acid vitamin C. I ground them up in a mortar and pestle. I put them in some hot water to finish kind of dissolving them. And this is what I use to dechlorine and chloramine this tub. It's about 100 gallons. The, I guess, recommended dosage is about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C per 40 gallons of water. So this is an overdose, but worst that can happen is the fish don't catch colds. I just dissolve it in here and then pour it in the top. And again, look at all the fry. God, look at them all. This is very cool. Yeah, I don't really want to drown any of these guys. This will get mixed up. There we go. That's it. And now this thing quit pumping because it's in the shade. So that's the drawback with it. Here's another one of the drawbacks to this fountain. Really kind of heavy cloud cover today. There was even talk of rain. I seriously doubt it. But you can see this thing's barely spitting. There's just not enough light for it to perform. So that is one of the things that happens with it. In the meantime, check out all the fry. They kind of show up better under this muted sunlight. So that's kind of this whole update here for the tub in a nutshell. I hope you get something out of it, or at least I hope you enjoyed it. Follow along. If you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And like I always say, thanks for looking.